Welcome back, guys, to the Reality Podcast, and I'm Alex, your host. And today I have a friend or someone who's very interested in self-improvement or growth, because I feel like in this generation, or AMA 2K, we're very much interested in having fun more than trying to prepare our lives or aim for growth. So today I have McMillan. McMillan, welcome to the show.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Alex. So my name is McMillan, Dekeya, and is introduced, and I'm here to talk about paradigm shifting and the invisible blueprints that affect our lives.
Okay, what are paradigm shiftings? Hey, these are fancy words. Paradigm shifting. Tell us more.
Okay, so paradigm shifting, I would first like to define what a paradigm is. So in simple terms, a paradigm is sort of a mental blueprint or a mental programming that runs our mind and that detects how we react to life. So that's basically what a paradigm is. It's sort of a program that is run in our mind that detects how we react to life.
Wait there. So have you ever seen the movie The Matrix?
Yes, I think I've watched the movie The Matrix.
That movie, the concept is that people were in a simulation. It's like they were programmed. So I'm trying to say that we as humans right now, we are living in a similar structure.
Yes, not exactly the movie type, but I think it's something like that. Let me first define, if you can allow me, define the mind and how we are programmed for it to become a paradigm.
Yes.
So I would first like to take you back to childhood. When a child is born, a child is born in a state that we call tabula rasa state. This is a state where tabula rasa state. Yes. Wow. This is a state where you are clean. You have no memory of anything or whatsoever. You are a clean slate. Yes. You're a child. So from the age of 0 to 7, a child's brain will be operating in waves that we call theta waves. These are the waves that can be likened to a person under hypnotic state. When you want to hypnotize someone, when you want to program something into someone's mind, that's the brainwave that those hypnotists use. It's called the theta wave.
Okay, my guy, slow down. Can you explain this in short? Because now I'm very lost. So these are fancy waves. Hypnosis.
Okay, so nduti nini tine brain redu. This is the brain, and so the brain inenge ichishanda is a frequency receiver. It works on delta, theta, beta, achidaro achienda mama uyand. So when we are tadarika pa 7 years and when we are using our analytical mind to solve my problems that you know day to day lives, tinenge chida kucha shopping kana chizing, this is not real, is not require kunge tine conscious awareness. Tichizita and tinoshandisa inonzi the beta state ndo iri responsible for logical thinking generally. Then tine state yatinoshandisa usually takuda kunorara, and that state yatinoenda takuda kunorara, it's called theta state. This state we are not consciously aware of zvinhu zvedu zviriitika, and it's sort of like our body is running on auto system. Ndo inoshandisa body yedu, because most of the systems that are going on in our body, let's say respiration, kufema, I'm not obviously conscious kuti ndikufema every time, but zvinongoitika on autopilot. Ndo yatiri kuti this is the theta state. And so ndati panozarwa mwana, and when a child is born, he or she will be operating in theta state. And so this theta state, it means that our brain is readily programmable with everything else. And so when a child is on clean slate, and what you're trying to do is to program a person, we are to program a human psyche so that it can be someone who can function in the society. And so how is our mind programmed? And so our mind is programmed with zatinokura tichiona our environmental factors, and zatinenge tichidzwa social circles, and zatinokura tichiudzwa nevabereki vedu kunziona izvi zvakadai so. And
so wait there. So wati mwana anozvarwa ari clean, hapana chaanoziva?
No, angasingazivi anything.
But echikura, he or she gets programmed by the society.
Yes.
So you mean a person is programmed by what he or she sees?
Yes.
So a society makes a person.
Yes, the society makes a person. You can say that in general, that the society makes a person. So panenge pachiprogramwa these two, what is, let me first define the mind. So the mind is the part of you that thinks, feels, and decides. It doesn't say, and in this mind is divided into two things. And so there is the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And so the conscious mind in reality inoshanda the beta part and the beta state, and inoshandisa for the logical thinking necessary. But this part is very, very slow, because in our day-to-day activities nizin zvakawanda zatinoda kuita and for this conscious mind to be always alert tinoda kudrive. You can drive from here to Harare and unokwanisa 30 minutes dzekuti unenge uri on autopilot uri kutongodrive ndandiri kutodrive and but you wasn't consciously aware in izvozvo and so ndotaura kuti the conscious mind and inoshanda for zvinhu zvakawanda zvinoda logical thinking, but the subconscious mind ndo inoita autopilot. This subconscious mind, how is it programmed? It is programmed by our conscious things, our conscious thoughts zatinofunga isusu, zatinobelieve and about ourselves, zvinofoma what you call the self-image. I'll talk about the self-image later on and so it forms the self-image. So this subconscious mind becomes a storehouse of our memories, our behaviors, our fears, our desires and but how this subconscious mind is formed? It is formed by conscious decisions that you make, conscious actions that you take and conscious thoughts that you think, Simon and so zinoitwa in these conscious decisions, conscious acts zinoitwa through the programming yaunoitwa ne-environment yako. So this one inofoma the subconscious mind. Saka isusu tichitaura kuti what is a paradigm? A paradigm ndo the programming iri mu-subconscious mind yako iyo inokudetecta kuti zvaunoita towards life ndezvipi. And so kana uine a negative paradigm, when you have negative beliefs andika ndokupa example.
So you mean when you have negative paradigm, when you say you have negative paradigms, you mean that you were raised negatively?
Yes, you were raised.
Your environment, social circle, or what you hate was negative.
Yes,
so
but
it becomes negative.
We cannot say 100% of it to blame of society. Some of it is vatinofunga isusu and nezvatinoita isusu and those zvinhu zvacho izvozvo zvinenge zichidetermine how a paradigm and you're in. So in order to shift life yako and you have to shift your paradigm. How do you shift your paradigm? You go back to the conscious mind, then you reprogram your subconscious mind, then you find your actions will start to lead in a different way.
Okay, in similar terms, you are trying to say that a person has to reflect and go back and review their decisions and then become better.
Yes, we are going to talk about that later. I just wanted to define what a paradigm is in general. And I think you have the general aspect of what a paradigm is.
Okay, interesting. So, by what you're trying to say, do you think that as people or as humans, we are living in a scripted life?
Yes, I may say that 90% of the population is living in a scripted life. And there was this other day that I was listening to a audio. It's called The Strangest Secret by A.O. Nightingale.
Yes.
So he said that a book was written, and this book is called Man's Search for Himself. So it's like a person, not men as in gender specific, the Bible just says men, so it's not anyone, either woman or men. So it's called Man's Search for Himself. You are searching for yourself. And it said that a survey was conducted, and this survey was conducted on thousands of working men, and they were asked, why do you wake up and go to work? What is your motivation to go to work? And it was surprising that 90% of these men said that, well, because everyone goes to work. They were not motivated from something that was authentic, something that was coming from their own motivation. It was a script that they were told by the society that you must wake up, you must go to school, you must get a degree, you must work, and then you retire. So this is what you found. The most of the population, they are living on autopilot. It's not their script. It's a script that they were told by the media. It's a definition of success that they inherited from other people, not their own definition of success.
So it's like a culture.
It's like a culture.
In similar terms, it's saying that enda kuchikoro, graduator, tsvaga basa, roora, shanta, then obvafa.
There's something surprising that I once had. Nima mskana, there was this person wandakataura naye achitaura kuti usually vanhu vanoti mskana unofanira kuroorwa at 25. So itori an inherited belief yakaitwa kuti kana utona musikana adarika 25 atone pressure from the society, because itori an inherited belief irimo population. People operate from that paradigm kuti munhu anofanira kutororwa at this age. So kana atodarika atone pressure yekuti inini handichakwanisi kuroorwa kana kuti akutoita ma-pressures of life, ndopa unozoguma kusetla nevamwe munhu yekuti munhu you wasn't planned kuti anoita here marriage yangu kana kuti i-pressure just because of an inherited paradigm that was said kuti kana wasvika pa-age
wakufanira kuroorwa. Okay, interesting. You know, I like real life stories. Tell me, when did you realize that you were living a life which was scripted?
When did I realize that I was living a life that I was scripted?
Yes, because you have to talk about what you've lived about.
Okay. So I wouldn't necessarily say it was a personal encounter and I was living in inherited belief ochi. It was zandakangoona what I saw from the environment that I grew up in, and from uchingokura. So I always had a question and ndanga ndinayo kuti what really is success to a person.
Yes.
What really makes a person successful, because you might find out that people grow up very under maybe the same niche, they go to the same university, but 5 years, 10 years down the line, you find that this one is a different life to this one. Maybe what it at the same degree. So I always ask myself, what is the demarcation? Could this person is bound to be successful and this one is not bound to be successful?
Can I mention the same thing?
Yes. The same I read this phrase, the opposite of courage in our society, it is not cowardice, but it is conformity.
You're right.
People doing things like everyone else without even knowing why. That's why I gave you an example of a survey. They were just living on inherited beliefs just because it's normal to everyone else. So I realized the people that are deemed to be successful are those people that stand to be different. You see, the system does not want people to be different. They want people to conform. They want people to move under the same agenda. So it is easier for a person, for a community to be brainwashed under a certain agenda if they move as an equal team. And so it hates people who are different. So I came up to an answer, if you want to be successful in life, and you have to be different from the people that conform. You have to see the people that I'm following, are these people going the same way that I want to go in? Are these people going the same direction? Do they have the life that I want in? So this is where you take your role models from. You go to the people now, they have the life and they have struggles and life, and how did they choose to deal with their struggles at that time? And then you go with that flow. That's when I realized most people, they are living in inherited beliefs, and not because it was a personal encounter, but it was something chandakaona from the environment that I grew up in. Nema answers and off to the questions that I had.
And I liked what you said about people who are just following the crowds. They don't question what is happening. They are good in conformity, right? So the perfect example is that when you have a group of friends and you're doing the same thing, everything's okay. They don't question you. They are happy with you. But once you start to try to come out of the group, why you try to do something which is different?
Yes, it's actually a psychological term, it's mob psychology. You find out that even this strategy conformity, it is the strategy even for cults. Some people may say that Roman Catholic is a cult. I don't believe that long, but some people say Roman Catholic is a cult.
It's not a religion, it's a cult.
It's not a religion, it's a cult.
That's what they say.
Yes, they say that this system is built upon conformity. One same agenda. You find out that Pope aningatori kunyika kwaro, but there's someone arimuno mamtari has never seen the Pope, but he can spread the message ya Pope waro. Why? Because it's system one. These people wari kufamba on in automatic program ya waka inheritwa wese wakadaro. So irregardless of place yari, you can still spread the same message.
Alright.
This is conformity.
So do you think that is the mental blueprint they were giving?
Yes, it is a mental blueprint, because the funny thing is you can actually decide which mental blueprint is installed in your program. You can choose to conform or you can choose to stand out. And for my own personal life, the program that I want in my mind, the E, and then you choose to become aware. Then you choose to program yourself in your certain paradigm.
So the question is, how can someone's self-belief keep them broke, small, unhappy, even if they are talented or hardworking?
Okay, so I said self-image, and so there's a funny phrase that I like to recite to my friends. I always say you can never outsmart your self-image. What you think you deserve about life and what you think you deserve as a person, as a human psyche, is what life will always give you. I think there's a certain law in physics by a certain physicist called Newton's law. It always says for every action there's an opposite and equal reaction. So for everything that you put in life, first those actions are determined by your self-image. The self-image is determined by the beliefs that you have about yourself. So if you have limiting beliefs about yourself, you will always see that life will reward you with limiting things. Let me give you an example. This theory, it's called the red car theory. And you utarise kuti mota dzingani dziri muroad dze red. You start to consciously see kuti iyo mota red, but without being aware of it, and unokwanisa kufamba kuenda kudanga mvura uko ndozokubvunza kuti mota ngani red dze red dzaona muroad yako kusvika kudanga mvura unokwanisa kundoziva kuti handina kuona mota red but not kuti hauna kuona you just wasn't aware kuti pane mota dzered and how do I relate this kune zvandiri kutaura ndobva ndakupa an example of munhu let's say I'm walking into a room and then I have a negative self belief about myself and let's say kuti ndinenge ndichiti I always have social anxiety pandopinda makati and I will start to notice things and that will confirm that belief about myself ndokwanisa kuona kuti mufesi uyu ari kundiganzira ari kutadaiso and zvinhu izvi zviri not because ndo zvinhu zviri kutoitika but just because my mind is focused pakuti inini ndine social anxiety vanhu vanonditreata zvakadai so mind yangu inotanga kuona zvinhu zvinoconfirma zvinhu izvozvo.
So if you're a negative person
you have negative self beliefs you always see life in a perspective yemunhu ari negative so you always see kuti life will give you zvinhu zvaunobelieve mauri iwewe.
So what do you think are the top 3 beliefs people have that keep them stuck?
Top 3, I wouldn't say top 3, I would just say one for the sake of time.
Okay.
One self-belief that I've noticed in many people.
One
major self-belief that I've noticed in many people is a weakened self-perception. What is a weakened self-perception?
Weakened as in weak, unator.
Yes, weakened self-perception. A perception is the view of something. So you view yourself as someone who's weakened. Let me give you an example of this study that was taken by a famous doctor known as Dr. Carol. And so this famous doctor, she studied students per Stanford University, how students react to failure. And so she put them under a certain environment, then achiwapa questions for a certain time year period. These questions got harder and harder, and so it found the people with a fixed mindset, and when they were faced with challenge and they tend to become uncomfortable, they tend to chicken out. But those people with a growth mindset, those people who believed failure is not a setback, and but failure is a stepping stone. Failure is something that is needed for growth, and failure is not the result, and but it is the pathway to growth. And
really,
yes,
failure is the pathway to growth.
Yes, failure is the pathway to growth.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yes.
Okay. So, what's the danger of over-identifying your past with your current struggles? Because someone may take their past and conclude that they will never grow up. I may say, last year I had losses, so this year what can be different? So how can that affect someone?
Okay, I like to refer sometimes to the good book, the Bible. So there is a verse in the Bible, Isaiah 48, should be verse 18 to 19. It talks about not dwelling in the past. And so what is the past? The past is nothing but an old version of yourself that no longer exists. And let's say last year you failed in whatever you wanted to do in life, and if you dwell on this past, you're dwelling to that version of you that was weakened, that version of you that failed, but you fail to realize that in evolution we are constantly evolving, and so the main basis of life is to constantly evolve from that old version to a new version. So by you said the disadvantages of over-identifying to your past, and you cling on to that version of yourself that was faced with failure, that version of yourself that was not able to perform whatever that you wanted to do. And you fail to realize that even today you can rewrite that version of yourself with a new version of yourself that is able to do whatever that you wanted to do. So by over-identifying with your past, and it is a disadvantage because you fail to realize that there is growth, and you cling on to your old mistakes instead of learning from those old mistakes. You should not over-identify with the past, but you must learn from the past.
Okay, interesting. Do you think a person's past is very important?
It is important and not important also. Okay. I would say it is important in the fact that it is a lesson. Then it is not important in the fact that you mustn't hold on to it. So you must take it as a lesson. And you must learn from your past. Okay. Whatever things that you fail to do, you must be aware what was I thinking in the moment and what could I have done better? What this and then you learn from those things. Then you find new ways to be better than that version of yourself.
Okay, but there's a question. Let's say you're in a romantic relationship. Past is it important?
What do you mean?
Like everyone, their past relationships. So when they get into a new relationship, should the new partner be considered about their partner's past?
I think this question is very controversial. But from the way that I look at it, femininity and masculinity is different.
Okay.
Inini pandotarisa scanner ndichiti let's say maybe ndoda kuroora kana kuti chiandi ndinotarisa the value yemusikana iyoyo, and value yemusikana is determined by the past yake, and it's not determined nekuti maybe ane basa rakaita sei kana kuti it's determined kuti ndosaka uchiona even in African tradition they talk about virginity, and it means kuti past you never encountered, you never had such an experience nemumwe munhu yandoda kuita newe, and so ndo pari kubva value ipapo. But kumurume manje they tend to see what that man provide, and chi chaanoita mabasa ake nechi. So I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge a man by his past, and but I think it is fair to judge a woman by her past just because she brings value to the table based on zaiita kumashure before aona iwewe, and that's what I think.
Alright, okay. Moving on. We are raised in a society which says that hard work is important in life. Do you think that hard work is important in life?
Okay, I think hard work is important in life when that hard work is strategized.
Alright.
But hard work without strategy is not important in life, because if hard work was something that was so rewarding, you would see those people. Let me give you an example. There was this other time paigadzirwa maroads, and I forgot the street masisachakawanda, but pane time paigadzirwa maroads kuti zene kumount pleasant, and so nandichitobva kupari that day and I noticed my construction workers anga ari kushanda ipapo, and then something hit me kuti there is someone anoona this bulldozer, and this someone atori kwaari kune mhuri yake or ane zvimwe zvinhu zvaari kutoita, and munhu yakakwanisa kuunderstanda kuti hard work does not bring money but value brings money, and akanotsvaga an asset and that acted as a system yekuti iyi inokwanisa kutsvaga mari in his absence, and it is scalable. Then pane munhu ari kushandisa bulldozer racho iroro, and anokwanisa kuweka 18 hours a day, and but you find out kuti anokwanisa kuwana $60 per day. Uyu mfeso webulldozer uyu ari kuwana $500 per hour. Why? Because chakatadza kunzwisisa nemunhu uyu ari kushanda mukati is hard work and investing your time or selling your time will never give you the money that you want, because ultimately just sitting at 24 hours a day you cannot increase beyond 24 hours a day, and which means time is not scalable, and so by investing hard work and time, and we only get a limited number of rewards, and rather than investing in something that is scalable, something that is multipliable, which is value, and
all right, interesting, because we're now living in the age of where people are grinding, they're hustling, and when they get the money they waste it. So what should people do? Should they create something which is valuable, or they should just enjoy the moment? Like, why not tomorrow is promise to let me enjoy my money? Like, especially young people, when I don't share an aso about $100 umadoro, some may say that dollar na pressure, but unofunga kuti munhu akabata $100 nas anofana kuita inayo, since ananga hustle ananga grinder, unoona munhu echito hustle for sure, but akabata mari yacho chaita hapana, and for sure achitaurire munhu kuti oita sena mari yake. But what do you think they should do kana abata $100 yake?
Okay, there's something called financial literacy, and before I talk about financial literacy, I want to give you an example of one or two. And wataura kuti pane munhu anobata mari and ubva unoti chaita hapana, and pane one two musociety yedu. Tine munhu anonzi murombo and nemunhu anonzi rombe, and vanhu two ava vakasiyana ende vanokwanisa kubatsirikana vakanzwisisa dambudziko ravo. So murombo munhu asina means yekuwana mari, and then rombe munhu anotowana mari yacho, but ari kuona kuti chandiri kuita nemari iyi hapana chandiri kwanisa kuita. So murombo akakwanisa kunzwisisa kuti dambudziko rangu riri pakushaya mari, anonotsvaga mari, and then rombe rikakwanisa kunzwisisa kuti dambudziko rangu inini riri mupfungo, and ndiri kutadza kunzwisisa kuti ichi mari yandinayo iyi yandawana iyi ndoishandisa sei kuti ndikwanise kudi kuevolve, handi ava anokwanisa kubatsirikana because anokwanisa kunzwisisa kuti the problem is in the mind, and the problem is not kutsvaga mari. So ndoza ndataura about financial literacy, and ndataura murombo uyo haasi kuda financial literacy uyo anoda kutotsvaga mari anditi then isusu dambudziko redu riri pane uyo handi ari kuwana mari yacho anditi but ari kusheya kuti ndoishandisa nei anditi ndopandiri kutaura something about financial literacy. You have to be the problem about our society and the problem about our school system. You know everything against our school system. Our school system will only make you cram a bunch of equations and stuff, but they fail to tell you financial literacy. And you find out that most students when they graduate and they are hit with a certain realization that these people, they will live in a rat race for the most of their lives. Why? Because what is called cram.
What is the rat race?
The rat race. Panika this sort of clip unokwanisa kuwana pa YouTube if you go and see the rat race. Unowana karate kanenge kachipiwa cheese and kanopiwa cheese then kobva karamba kachida cheese kanoramba kachiita andika chinhu chinoramba chichiitika andika. So rat race vanhu vari kutengesa nguva yavo andika they are selling their time. Let me give you an example of massive servants andika.
Okay, interesting. Go on.
Okay, massive servants and you find out with these people they may work, they get paid 12 times a month and munhu anokwanisa kuti to the standard pay is $300 and per month. Then munhu uyu agara atori the system magadziriro yakaitwa kuti ikukeep in the rat race and it's designed to give you a sort of comfort and unokwanisa kupiwa kana mota yebasa and itori mota yakaipa fortune and but you fail to realize that you are just munhu ari kupasa apa pandi aizi yako mota and so it gives you a sense of comfort. Une mota yekuenda nayo every day and paunozoretire ndipo unoona aiwa ina was playing a losing game nandiri mu rat race ausina chawinacho apa and wazopiwa maybe ka pension ke $100 ndipo ndati ndikupa example of massive servants. These people they are in the rat race because rat race uri kuramba uchichesa chinhu chausingafa wakawana and these people are chasing freedom and money is
financial
not
freedom.
Yes, they're searching financial freedom. Money is not the result and money is a means to something else and so money it must not be your ultimate goal in life and inofana iri a means to attain a certain goal yawinayo. So these people wesorora main rat race and they have failed one thing to realize that money is a means to something and they are focused on searching that money and mari haifika kwana and the desire for money ndo chinhu one chino it goes against the law of diminishing margin utility economics and inotaura kuti munhu atomboti yokadya iwo and unosvika pakuguta and unosvika pakushatirwa nechikafu and but mari haufi wakaguta mari unoramba uchida imwe mari and so these people vari mu rat race and they are chasing something they will never find and they are chasing freedom. In this freedom is sold as an illusion yemari yavanopiwa pakupera kwemwedzi
and they work until they die.
They work until andipanozonzi 65 years waretire they work until 65 years and then they fail to they realize something manje wazopa 65 years kuti all this time kubva pesa apa ndika I was working to improve someone else's life and ndaiimprove maybe that person akatanga company yo and akatoita zvinhu zake zaaitoita mulife yake akararama zvaitoda achitoda holiday kuenda kuVictoria Falls aienda but inini ndairama ndiri pabasa 9 to 5 every day of my life ndo ndazopiwa ka pension ke $150. This is the rat race.
So people now have to shift their paradigm.
Yes,
mindsets.
Ndopandati financial literacy and there is an argument yakaitwa na Strive Masio our billionaire in Zimbabwe and akataura kuti ndakaenda kumachikoro ekuZimbabwe and I noticed that these people they are not told even kuti how can you open a company under the legal constraints of your government and you don't even know the news also. They are not taught financial literacy but akaenda kunana Egypt somewhere around Egypt and they found out that those schools they teach you even at a tender age kuti kana uchida open a company if you want to be an employee if you want to be an entrepreneur how do you do it and how do you face the adversities that you meet in life as an entrepreneur and so those people they fail they pawano pedza when they graduate and you see that these people they defeat the rat race because wakukwanisa kuziva kuti inini I can actually monetize zvimwe zvinhu and without me needing ndiripo paplace ipapa working a 9 to 5 and I can also be an entrepreneur. I can also do this and this and this and so those it's all about financial literacy. People need to be taught financial literacy.
So in conclusion, we are being educated to work for someone else.
Yes.
And then we spend our lives working and then you have no freedom. Like unopedza kushanda like at 65 and then you are old, you can't even go out and have fun.
Yes.
You will spend your life working.
It's like unenge uri ku prepare life it's like you're working for a second life and uri pesa pa 65 years yogadzira uchazopiwa umwe upenyu but you only live once. So paunozosvika 65 years you see kuti zimwe zvinhu zvakatokumisa in life and certain chapters in life yawaifana kuita zvinhu zvakatokusiya zvezizvi all because you fail to realize kuti you're living in a rat race.
Okay, now let's talk practical steps. What should we do as the youth? Everyone are to break their self from this trap, from this script. What should they do?
Okay, the first thing that you must do is to be aware first. Consciousness. You must be aware yezinto zvaunoda in life and the first thing you must define what success is to yourself. What do you want in life?
And then success is the same for everyone. Get money, get a house, a car.
No, success is actually subjective.
Okay.
It is defined to different people. Different people have different visions of success.
Okay.
And so the first practical step to run from the rat race is to define success to yourself. And then when you find something that you love the most to do in life and find ways to make it scalable, find ways to monetize that and
get value from
let's say you have a passion of making a podcast and so to run away from the rat race and you found your passion in life and maybe it's a side hustle or what, I don't know. And you must find ways to monetize that. And so you have found ways to monetize that. You now want to make it scalable. And so that unotiza the vision yekuti yo unofana uri physically present pachinhu chako kuti chikugadzirire mari. Chinhu chako chinofana kuti kugadzirira mari even without you being physically present. Unokwanisa kutengesa ma-ebooks. There's this thing called ma-ebooks akuitwa mazuva ano. So it means that this business is now running 24/7 even without you being present and wakwanisa kutengesa zvinhu online. You can post these videos per TikTok, per Instagram. You can monetize these social media platforms and it now means that you are earning money without you being physically present. And with this, I tell you, if you follow this way, you easily run away from the rat race. So you must first be aware.
So the mind should be strong also because the mind is very fragile. It can tell you a lot of things. You can't do this, you can't win, who do you think you are, and so on.
Yes, it is because actually the biology of our human brain, it is wired to protect us even from evolution. For comfort, yes. Even from evolution. And you found kuti pane zvinhu zvakawanda zvazine danger kune vanhu and so the brain needed to adapt to these dangers and so it was wired to protect us from zvinhu zvese zvine pain. And
so that's why people give up early.
Yes, that's why people give up early because it is their brain telling you kuti you're comfortable in this place. Kana wakutotry kutiza from that paradigm and you are now involving pain, you are now involving struggle and ndopa ndataura kuti struggle is part of growth and
so the brain actually adapts and
the brain can adapt. True.
So you set a give up, you become stronger like mentally.
Yes, izvi zvinhu zvakastadwa nevanhu vanokwanisa and these people vakaona kuti the brain is kudhara vanhu vaiti the brain is fixed ukasvika pa 18 years and the brain is no longer plastic and but now on wakukwanisa kuziva kuti the brain in a phenomenon called neuroplasticity and it can adapt to train and those unoita for those people who are mathematicians and they repeatedly take themselves through process yekucrema those equations. At first zvinhu zvinenge zviri hard because brain has no zidzaira but it forms neurons and those neurons form other neurons and they strengthen and ultimately it becomes your main version of yourself and so it adapts the brain.
So if someone wants to change their life, what's the most realistic move they should take?
Rewire your brain.
Rewire your brain?
Yes.
It's all in the brain?
Yeah, it's all in the mind.
Wow, interesting.
Because the Bible says that in Proverbs, as a man thinketh, so easy. As a man thinketh in his heart,
you are
so
your
easy.
Thoughts.
Your life is just the sum of all the thoughts, the decisions, and the actions that you have taken. So if you want to see your decisions, you want to see the actions that you have taken in life, just take a look at your life.
Yeah.
Power.
If your mind is even organized, you can even see it by the way you dress, by the way you walk, by the way you even do your stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, you're right. So, how do you deal with the people who try to pull you back once you start to try to go forward?
Okay, so there's this other video ndakaona ya Snoop Dogg and aitaura kuti as you grow in life and it's a ladder and so maybe per time yako and maiwirirana maybe maita zvekudhaka and muri team renyu and saka mai operator pa same level and but you wazosvika pakuona kuti in my life ndakuda kusiya zvinhu and you now need to elevate from that level and saka vanokwanisa they can do two things. They can either elevate with you or they can either pull you down big andika saka iwo unoti aiwana vari kundidzosera kumashure andika leave them at that level, elevate andika then you start to find one wari pa level.
Would you feel bad about leaving those people behind?
No, I think humans should be selfish at some point andika
for your life,
selfish for your life andika kana vanhu vasuri kuita zvinhu zvauri kuda andika do not be shy kuwaudzoti timu rangu in life yangu inini ndoda kuti iende pakati ende timu rangu kana maramba kuchinja timu rangu takutongosiyana ndizvozvo then you maybe wazopa level iroro was successful you can go back to those people and which was ona is chuya ikwandiri andika wakuchinowakwidza at this point it's no longer necessary kuti waku pull it down andika because they've seen kuti we are elevator. The only thing they can do is now to change and to elevate to your level
but when you're trying to climb the ladder you get some comments, people will give their remarks.
Yes.
Because you're going to improve a life. Someone will say, what do you think you are trying to be different from us? How can you deal with that?
You must understand chino. Ndataura kuti the society will always hate those people that stand out. So ukakwanisa kunzisa kuti these people they are conforming to an agenda yawo yawari and you are now different from that agenda. You're trying to find something that is authentic to kwauri andika. So it's a way you to strengthen up pfungwa dzako. You can deal with those negative things andika by just accepting kuti I'm operating from a different paradigms from these people, so what they say andika should iwo kana uchiona chinhu chinotaura munhu andika if it cannot change you from vision yauri to a better version of yourself then it's not necessary. It's not necessary to you.
So what are your final words?
So in conclusion, my final words, I would just like to say Guti, all these things that I was talking about and about my paradigms, the invisible blueprints, basically about the mind. And there is a book that I'm in the process of writing.
You're a writer?
Yes, I used to be. I think I was in grade 6 ndichiradza teacher wangu inzi Mr. Mapeza padakambara primary. Ndichiradza to my story nini so it was something that was in me kubva ndiri mwana but I never found kuti ndonyora nezechi. So pandakazokura I decided kuti I need to be someone who's a coach, an author of agenda, a message, a self-improvement. So I'm in the process of writing a book with one agenda and one agenda only. In order to change a man, you must first change his mind. The rest he can do for himself. So it is to rewire your mind, talking about all these practical things that I was saying telling you pauri and paunokwanisa kuenda so this is what I was talking about and I'm writing it in a book.
Yeah, it will make sense because wisdom is so profound. Yeah. So when is the book coming out?
You cannot hurry inspiration.
Okay. So
I only write when I'm inspired. So I cannot give a definite date, but we're expecting it soon.
100 words a day.
Yeah, maybe 100 words a day.
Right, it's okay. And I'll be able to read the book when it comes out. So where can people find you?
Instagram, my account is McMillan. Yes, okay. I think that's where you can find. WhatsApp, if you just want to talk to me, my number is 0785 585 959. That's my WhatsApp number.
Wonderful. So thank you for helping the family, the youth out there. Because I know that most of us are trapped in the Zimbabwe scripts.
Yes.
They're just living life on autopilot. Wabara, wind up primary, secondary, university, graduate, find a job.
Yes.
Warora, and then wake and die.
Yes.
Not really knowing that you can even live your life. You can even
life is you are also capable to live that life. And there's one thing I want to say to people. And if you see Guti, your life is not giving you the things that you want in life, and always know Guti, it's not your problem. And you're just loyal to an old version of yourself. You just want to move. You just have to shift to a new version of yourself. And then you can see Guti, life is limitless. Whatever you want, it is within your reach. Yes.
Okay. So thank you, my guy, for coming. Okay, and I hope to see you next time.
Okay.
Definitely.
I will definitely be.
So guys, that was me, Alex, on the Reality Podcast with Alex, and I was with McMillan. We had a very good time, and I had a very good time getting all this knowledge and wisdom. So guys, see you next time on the Reality Podcast, and be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time, guys. Bye.